My today's guest calls himself a car enthusiast, but owns and drives an electric car. This is actually not our first podcast. We have done 4 podcasts. 2 podcasts were done twice. And that were done 2 years back. And where are those podcasts?
Well, they are still very safe in my hard disk. And is it roast or podcast, Faisal?
No. I think we did this in a hotel room twice.
No.
The same podcast
this
twice.
One is roast or podcast.
This
Okay,
is not
started
a roast.
from that part that roast.
So obviously Gagan Choudhary is with us today, who is now an automobile content creator, but started off as a tech content creator and now wants to venture into aviation
Yes.
content, right?
Yes.
So Gagan, you are multi-talented in many ways.
I am
you have
also unstable, so
yeah, you are very unstable. That I know, because today morning when we were shooting, this guy went and slept on the corner of the road. I was shooting one car, he was shooting another car. And now we are very bad in terms of timelines because we don't have much time to shoot. So how are you going to manage to shoot that car is not my question today, because my question for today is purely why Indian car brands haven't been able to go global. Now the reason I'm saying car brands are not automobile brands, because motorcycle brands like Royal Enfield, Hero, Bajaj and all have made a significant impact in the global markets. Africa उनका घर चलाता है. But why Indian car brands haven't been able to go global?
So we could have discussed this off camera, sir. Why did you bring me on camera?
Everybody should know your love and hate relationship with Tata Motors.
Oh my goodness, more conversations. Okay, so
first let's set the context. In India, we have
exactly.
only 3 car brands. 4 if we consider your favorite car brand Praveg. But there's Tata Motors, there's Mahindra, and there's obviously Force Motors, which I don't think we should even consider.
Yes, exactly. I mean, if I have not driven any car, then I don't.
But you've not driven any Force Motors car. You have missed out on a lot of stuff.
Tracks. I have not missed out on anything. I know. I have driven tracks, by the way.
Achha, you
Tufan.
have. Oh,
Yes.
cars
And
are
also,
good.
I also driven that bada wala. What's that van?
Tempo Traveler.
Tempo Traveler. Yes.
Yes. So tell me.
We have multiple car brands.
Multiple
multiple
only
means
technically 2.
3.
Forget
2.
Force Motors.
Okay.
Forget Force Motors.
Your question is why we have not been able to go global. Okay. See, Mahindra sells in many countries now.
South Africa, Australia, yes.
And to an extent, some Namibia and also some. I don't know how they sell it. Probably somebody is distributing the cars over there. Tata
Nepal
used to
also.
sell.
Nepal also.
Yes.
No, I'm not considering Nepal. Like Nepal is like neighborhood.
Just like Dubai is extension of India. That way.
Yeah, but they don't sell in Dubai. Mahindra has a dealership
Pickup.
in Dera. I don't see any car.
Commercial vehicles only.
But I don't see any car. There was an XUV 500 parked almost 3-4 years back when I had come. But they have not managed to sell any cars here in Dubai.
500 or 500 as we say. That was the only car, a passenger car they were selling. Otherwise, they were all pickups and all. They still sell pickups.
But if you see on the other side, today in Dubai, you see so many cars that car enthusiasts, content creators like us, our job relies on identifying cars. We cannot identify 95% of the Chinese cars on the road.
Yes, true that.
So China has...
If I am not able to identify a car, that is Chinese car.
No, but China has really made a huge impact in the Middle East market.
Not just Middle East, some more markets.
But why are Indian car brands behind? So see, let's talk about Tata Motors. Tata Motors is an old car brand, relatively 25 years. Jetor is a car brand which is like 5-7 years. It's all over the place. Like I tell you, look, Defender. There's a Defender and there's a Jetor passing.
Okay.
So how has Chery managed to make such a big impact in global markets?
So Tata is old. Jetor is not, but Chery is old as well. Not as old as Tata Motors, obviously, but there are 2-3 sides of it. A, why Indian brands are not expanding. B, how come Chinese brand expanded? And there are very different
But
categories.
if you see, both our countries are very similar in many ways. In terms of population, firstly. In terms of the cost
Size.
of labor. Like very similar, like we have low cost labor and all. So why does a country which has such massive population like ours has just 2 car brands? Meanwhile, China has more than 120 car brands. Domestic brands. Plus, obviously, they have local partners for global brands. So, Volkswagen has partnership with 2 local partners. So, the same Passat is being sold by 2 other brands, like through 2 brands. But in India, nothing of that sort is happening.
First thing that happened was when the companies wanted to enter that particular market. For example, VW wanted to enter China, or maybe some other brand wanted to enter India. There was this clear policy that you have to partner with a local partner.
That's fine. Right? But why polygamy? Why 2 partners selling the same car and the same...
It's because of the market appetite. China is selling, I think, 100x of what we are selling. I'm not really...
You are kind of accurate, because I think BMW sells around 10,000 cars in India in a year.
Luxury are 100x, otherwise it's
BMW sells 7 lakh cars in China
And in
every
India?
year. 10,000 cars.
10,000 in India.
That's the
So
reason
now-
you didn't get to drive an M5 because there's no priority for BMW Global to actually give us cars.
Exactly, and we have seen that VW in their global press conference have prioritized 5 or 7 pointers. Just one pointer was China.
No. The first pointer was China.
First pointer was China.
Absolute most important thing was China, electrification. And I was speaking to the Volkswagen Global CEO. He said, why will I spend even 1 rupee in India? You tell me where are the volumes. Now, if I see in the VW scheme of things, there are other markets which are so big for me that I will invest there, right? Which Skoda is not present in a lot of countries. Like it's not present in the United States of America, which means that they're missing in a lot of places. So India becomes the second priority for Skoda. But Volkswagen, India doesn't even come in the top 20.
No, but coming back to the actual question, which is the China has appetite of domestic consumption first. So domestic consumption, if that is more, you obviously have more car brands which will flourish. And obviously then there will be ambition of some car brands that we will go global, will go outside China, will try to sell. And they have a very different way of selling things. They burn money. We have seen that in the mobile markets.
Like Windsor, for example.
Windsor is also, that's kind of a burning
predatory
thing.
pricing?
Huh?
You think it's predatory pricing?
Well, not really. They have smartly introduced that BAS, battery as a service.
No,
thing.
even when you factor in they're giving you the battery, you don't have to pick it from Duracell. Still, you see the price is actually very aggressive. The 4.3 meter car is cheaper than a 4 meter car. How is that possible? I'm talking about with comparison to the Nexon EV.
It is aggressive, but it's not like they are burning money on it. It's they might not be making anything, which I don't think Tata Motors is making much money on their electric cars. Mahindra is making any money on XUV400. I don't think so. But that's a different game together because electric cars. China has mastered that electric car thing.
They invested long back. You know why? Because they realized that even in 1,000 years, they cannot make an internal combustion engine car. They knew that. So they decided that we cannot do this. Let's do something and become a first mover. And that's where the electric advantage came to them.
Way, China still sells more internal combustion engine cars outside China than what Indian manufacturers do outside India. That is also a case. However,
so Indian car brands are not selling anything. So if you see Tata Motors, it had ambition, right? When the Indica came out long back, they partnered with Rover and they sold it as a city Rover in the UK. I remember James May driving it and trashing the car, saying it's the worst car possible. Unfortunately, he has never driven the Premier Rio, which was sold in India. Oh yeah, Premier, another car maker which has just vanished into oblivion.
The entire Hindustan Motor thing, they tried. Tata Motors, see, I think our cars were not ready to go global because of the quality.
But they're not still ready to go global.
They are now. Some cars are
so
now. I believe Mahindra is making
Mahindra,
some
yes,
global
but
car.
Tata, no. Because I'll tell you what. See, between both the brands, and it's not like I'm a fan of Mahindra or Tata. I'm not a fan of any car brand as such, other than obviously Ferrari. But the point is that these car makers, like Tata and Mahindra, if they sell the same quality abroad and if there's any issue which comes out, they will not be left easily. Like they can't let go easily. Like here, we tend to forgive a lot.
Exactly.
And because we are so busy, like we are the middle class who are buying these cars, we don't have the time to go and file a case or fight for our rights or fight for the wrong product we have got. But abroad, they get murdered.
Also, abroad people want you to improve. They just don't say that, okay, this is bad. They want you to improve. They expect that we have given the feedback, now you improve on it. Which, with the turnaround time of that, the Chinese companies are way fast in that. Indian companies are not. In Chinese companies are so far that they'll even discontinue a brand and bring a new one. By the
That
time
is
we
cherry.
Exactly. So, did I go?
Yes, you did.
Okay, no, it's still fine.
I think when you speak at a certain speech, then you automatically lower for better aerodynamics.
That is the perfect car guy thing to say. Okay, so the thing is, first of all, Tata, when they tried selling abroad, I still remember they tried selling in Italy as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, they did.
Mahindra tried selling
We
in
saw a
Italy
lot
at
of cars. We saw Indica, Vista in Spain.
have seen,
We see it in the UK.
Multiple different Rovers sold in UK and all sort of thing. But the quality was actually not global standard back then. Now it is, at least in some products.
I beg to differ. Because I'll tell you one thing. I feel, between Tata and Mahindra, I feel Mahindra makes far better cars.
I'm talking global quality with Mahindra only.
Mahindra makes far better cars. Like Scorpio N has a good fan following in places like South Africa, Namibia, Australia and all. And people have actually come to us when we were driving the Scorpio N in South Africa and Namibia and asked, is this the new Scorpio?
Is this the new Mahindra?
Is this the new Mahindra? Like girls, I don't know if they were hitting on you or they were genuinely interested in the car, but at the fuel pump, they were like peeping inside, trying to figure out what this car is. At every immigration, when we were illegally traveling, they were asking us, oh, is this the new Mahindra? So, a lot of curiosity. I definitely feel that Mahindra makes far better cars than Tata Motors. Firstly, because Mahindra stayed true to its roots of making SUVs.
But still, they're not growing as fast as they can.
I feel for Mahindra, the challenge is also emissions. Like the CAFE norms, like Tata Motors has been able to offset it by offering EVs. But Mahindra has majority diesel sales. And I think they're paying a lot of fines to the government.
But that is the India specific case. Outside, I tell you the problem. The transition is also a big problem. Brands are not realizing whether we should invest in EVs or whether we should continue investing in ICE.
Okay, I will give you some advice. EV is trash. Don't invest in it. Don't waste your time. That's done. Okay. No. What I'm telling you, from what perspective I'm telling you, Tata Motors is making cars by thinking about CAFE, by thinking about a lot of other factors like economies of scale. Let me do a similar design across the range. Let me put the same touch panel here. Let me put the same cluster and all. But Mahindra, on the other hand, has distinctive models. Scorpio N has very little in common with the 700. The 700 has very little in common with the Thar Rocks. Like obviously they share screens, engine and all those things. But if you see them visually, they're so different. That aspect I think will work globally.
That aspect will work global, and Mahindra wants to go global, but Tata right now is not focusing on global. That is also true. When we talk to Tata Motors, people at Tata Motors, they want major share of Indian market first, then they want to go global. Mahindra is already preparing. They're like, we might be the 4th behind Tata, almost reaching number 3. But we want to go global as well. We want to sell cars outside India. We want to enter the left-hand drive market again. They are in some markets.
I think they have an advantage. They have one advantage. They are body-on-frame cars, like especially the Scorpio N. That can go into global markets because now everybody is so hell-bent on doing front-wheel drive monocoque in that segment. So there's some distinction in that model. Now with the Safari, Harrier and all, similar as other cars in the segment. That's another problem.
There's one more thing with Mahindra. Their products are not fuel efficient, but they are powerful. Globally, the trend is such. They don't need more fuel efficiency. They need better power on highways, right? They want their car to be powerful enough that, okay, we load stuff and we hitch a trailer back at a Scorpio N or wo chalni chahiye uske baad mein. They should have that much of power.
Talking about that, I remember we had seen the Scorpio N pickup version.
Yes.
And I think that has huge potential globally to the point that Mahindra's like, we will not even launch it in India. We don't think there's an audience for it. And they will just launch it globally. So I think that ambition is definitely there, like you said, with Mahindra, because they are now thinking only about global. Like, we are going to launch this car only for global.
But I think the brands also missed the bus now. Because now we're talking this in 2023, 2020, 2024. Manufacturers who are made big globally, they actually expanded themselves in 80s, 90s, and
You're talking about the
Koreans.
90s, yeah.
Koreans have been trying from so long. I think the only last successful example that we see of any manufacturer who's come out of their home country and actually expanded rapidly were Koreans. I don't remember any other example, new company that has come out and suddenly became something. Chinese are also yet to prove themselves. They are burning cash. They are into other markets, but they have not proven themselves that, okay, we are a reliable ICE manufacturer. They have proven themselves in electric. BYD has proven themselves that, okay, we can make Tesla equivalent.
See,
By the way,
Tesla
is also one company that China has given exception that, okay, you can come without partnering any other local company.
But now they've abolished that.
Well, the thing is, in electric, they were very sure that we are already ahead with the technology. ICE, we are not, so we'll ask them for the technology. Indians had this same advantage. Mahindra used to do it. In fact, Mahindra actually took that advantage and they manufactured the same type of Jeepish thing that we still see. The technological reception of Indians were not really great when it was supposed to be. And also, there was one more problem. India was never a manufacturing economy first. Our entire focus of government was, okay, agriculture economy hai, usko we have to upbring and put in a situation where everyone comes out of the poverty first, not really manufacturing global things. They were like, okay, first manufacture for ourselves.
But China was also in a similar state.
China had this focus very clear that we want to grow as an industry for the factory for the world. So we will do whatever it takes. The government was very clear, again, democracy and not having democracy and having strict policies. India, mein policies were very vague.
They still are.
They still are. Manufacturers were not, they were able to meet whatever the government said. Government said, okay, meet safety norms in 2019. They were like, we will do it. Meet BS6 norms, we'll do it. BS4 norms, we'll do it. The problem is they come very fast. The change is very rapid. The maybe the intensity of the regulation is not really that hard, which is not
But
something
the
that
brunt
companies
of
can't
the
meet.
change, the hit is taken by the consumer only. Today, the prices of the cars which are going skyrocketing, all blame has to go to the changing norms.
Yes,
the
but
government is not thinking about the consumer. They are thinking, हमें ये चाहिए. And as a manufacturer, how does it matter to the manufacturer? They pass it on to the consumer.
Manufacturer is simple, na. If manufacturer is not able to survive properly in their home market, they will not have appetite for global market, and there will be less people coming into that market thinking that okay, we'll go global. I was in US last year, SEMA. There's this show, SEMA show. And I saw small component manufacturers. They don't want to sell in US because there's enough competition, but they still want to manufacture it there. They want to expand their distribution network and want to sold globally. I was like, how do you have that enough confidence when you are not surviving in your domestic market? They are like, but why do we need domestic market? We can directly go global. We have that quality. We have that money. We have that backing from the government that if we fail, we're probably not going to end up in the way that you might end up in a country like India or any other country. So they had this clear policies. They had this appetite to go global, and that's why they succeeded. For example, and also, by the way, Indian market is hard. Domestically as well. So companies which have come to Indian market have failed and gone back. So first of all, that is also an issue. Many times this example is given that we don't have enough number of sales, which is not true. We have enough number of sales.
We have the consumers. We have the people ready to pay money to buy cars.
But people are very, cost centric. Very cost centric.
I think more value conscious.
It's see again.
So you tell me today, Mahindra is selling rupees 30 lakh Scorpio. 30 lakh XUV 700, Safari Harriers top end 30 lakh plus, Creta is costing 24 lakhs. These are not cheap cars by any means.
This has come now.
Yeah, and people are buying it.
2024.
Creta is the top seller.
This was not a case.
No, so exactly. I have always maintained this. India is not a price conscious or a cost conscious country. It is a value conscious.
Now, with the value conscious thing, the problem is there are not enough people buying 20 lakh Creta. They buy 14 lakh wala version. There are.
But Scorpio and 700, I've seen top ends only.
You have seen, and that proposition has come now. That situation has come now.
No, but who would have thought that people would buy an Indian brand which costs rupees 30 lakhs? 30 lakhs is a lot of money.
Well, if you offer Maruti was very reluctant that you will not be able to sell a hot hatch or premium.
But can we consider Maruti here as well as an Indian brand?
No. Maruti
well, now obviously more than 50%
brand.
Ownership is with Suzuki Japan, but technically the whole brand was conceptualized as an Indian brand with Maruti.
And if you consider that, think of it that Suzuki is also not selling great in other markets.
Suzuki is only reliant on India right now. Majority of their profits, revenue, sales, everything come from India. They exited Australia, I think. They exited New Zealand. They exited US. They don't do great in Europe because obviously the cars are not. Like, I feel the Chinese will outsell Suzuki in most of the countries now. And
people ask for quality there, and that's why they differ with the Suzuki's portfolio, that these are not the quality that we want. Again, the quality, they are very quality focused. We are not in India.
Who? Suzuki?
No. Suzuki is Suzuki. That's why Suzuki was not that quality focused. Agar wo hote, so they would have sold more cars globally, right? They were not quality focused. They were very clear that okay, India is one market.
No, they are more efficiency focused, I think.
They are quality focused in terms of reliability. I'm talking about the feel of it.
So my biggest problem with Maruti is that, in spite of being the top seller in the Indian market, like majority market share, every second car sold today, still today, without diesel also, is a Maruti Suzuki car. They have done absolutely nothing for the Indian audience. For the Indian enthusiasts, they have done zero, nil, nada, zit, shunya. Kuch nahi kiya.
Because they knew there's no enthusiast population which can buy cars.
No, I disagree. You tell me something. Let's talk about all car brands right now today. When we talk about Volkswagen, right? All the car brands which are leading in the home market, like VW leads in Germany, obviously. Seat leads in Spain. Skoda leads in Czech Republic. And in America, obviously, American car brands like Ford and all, they are leading in their respective markets. I think Toyota does very well in Japan. So does Nissan. Honda also does very well.
Suzuki also is okay.
All these car brands have launched enthusiast-specific models purely because they're leading the market. So it is their responsibility to go and develop the enthusiast culture. Maruti Suzuki has done absolutely nothing. All they care about is shareholder value, revenue, profit. That's the only focus that brand has. You tell me something, with majority market share, how difficult was it for them to launch a Swift Sport. At least one generation of the Swift Sport they should have launched.
It was not.
They didn't do that.
It was not.
You see, Golf is a top seller in Germany. We have a Golf GTI. Not we, they have. They have a Golf R. Right? The Octavia has an RS version. Seat has Cupra. Then in the US, obviously, Focus has RS, ST. Everywhere, every country you talk about where there's majority market share by a particular brand, or at least in their home country, they are offering enthusiast-specific models. I'm saying that because right now we are driving the Honda Civic Type R. What a brilliant car. And
we had Baleno RS. We had
Baleno
Tiago JTP. We have Ultra Racer. I don't laugh at it, but okay. We have had some cars.
Okay,
let's minus Tiago.
Chalo, I agree we had some cars. Baleno was launched as a more comfortable alternative to the Swift. It was a more practical, more spacious, more comfortable alternative to the Swift, and they went and plonked the 1-liter booster jet engine in it and called it RS. Why invent when you have a Swift Sport? Launch the Swift Sport. People want the Swift Sport. People have heard of the Swift Sport. The Swift Sport is such an iconic nameplate. Why not get it to India? How difficult can it be?
The problem is cost. That 1.4 engine.
Make your own. Today they should have put the booster jet engine in the Swift, even 100 horsepower. Launch it with a slightly sporty suspension. Lower it. Why not?
They could have done.
I'm telling you, Maruti Suzuki has kind of sort of ruined the Indian enthusiast market.
I tell you, the same thing is there with other manufacturers also.
I don't know how you are supporting Maruti so much, considering you are the person who coined the term Karuti Suzuki. And today, this guy is the one who keeps making branded content for Maruti with repeated paid collaborations for the chimney.
One collaboration.
I am just upset with the fact that nothing is being done for the car enthusiast.
No, I tell you. No manufacturer has tried more than like one shot or two shots. For example, Hyundai.
JTP, they did not try to sell it.
Hyundai N-Line. Right? That's not complete thing. It's like
if the engine has the same specification as a regular model, I will not consider it.
So the N-Line is the same thing. Then comes the next manufacturer, Tata, JTP, and JTP was actually
good. They made no effort to sell it.
Again, the problem was people were not ready to pay more and get the same quality almost. Like, okay, the performance was there and little bit of fun was there.
I think we are digressing. This can be a separate topic altogether. How Indian car brands or car brands which have had majority market share, I don't want to mention Maruti again and again and again, have kind of ruined the whole enthusiastic segment in India, and that culture has not got developed. Now you tell me 1975 when the Golf first came, right? People were like, you know what, we need a faster Golf. We need a sporty Golf. Nobody thought about it. Volkswagen created that culture, right? They made sure that culture got created with the GTI, then the Golf R. They went ahead and did that. And this has happened in almost every country. In Australia, they have those sort of station wagons, Holden. Right?
Holden, yes.
Yeah, crazy power. So every car brand globally has gone ahead and created some sort of enthusiastic culture. And now problem is that we are too late. Because the focus is now on electric. Electric, you give as much power, nobody gives the flying I don't give a you give me 1000 Newton meters of torque. If it doesn't make sound, I don't want it.
You were the one making reels on 0 to 100 of Audi RS e-tron in 2.4 seconds. I tell you why. Coming back on the actual topic of the podcast and keeping this particular point in mind, all the companies that you're mentioning were actually making profits enough for them to experiment. For example, Spain, Seat there, or Czech Republic mein Skoda, they might not be doing numbers of what Maruti was doing here, but they were making more profits. For example, today Mahindra comes proudly on stage and say we are the most profit-making company. And the same company goes global from India. Because they have enough profits to experiment in other markets. The problem is brand awareness. Not many people know Tata and Mahindra outside India.
Which is the most conservative car brand according to you?
In India?
Overall, globally, which is the most conservative?
I don't know, but there are multiple. Lada might be the Russia.
No. Then that Force Motors also comes in there. But globally, I feel Japanese brands are the most conservative, right? Especially Honda. If you see 80s and 90s belong to the Japanese. Honda and Toyota expanded a lot to the point we thought they'll take over the car industry completely. And then they just went, like, they didn't keep that momentum. Right. No, problem is every car brand thinks that by making the car more smooth, more refined, heavier, bigger, more feature loaded, it's going to do better.
Wait, who challenged Japanese?
Koreans.
No, Koreans never challenged Japanese. Koreans was always challenging Americans and...
So see, the Koreans, see, at least in India, the Koreans killed the Japanese. Right now...
Their rise killed the Japanese.
So the rise...
But they were not challenging Japan.
I remember the best car journalist in the world called the Hyundai accent as the Hyundai accident on TV. Right? Jeremy Clarkson said that. Yeah. He actually compared the Korean cars from Hyundai Kia to refrigerators and fridge and all those washing machines. They actually got that in the studio. That was the situation for the Koreans in the 80s and 90s. 80s and 90s belonged to the Japanese. I think 2000s, 2010s, the past 20 years have belonged to the Koreans. The kind of impact Hyundai and Kia have done globally. And what I like about these brands compared to the Japanese, they give us global nameplates. Whether it's Carnival, whether it's Seltos, whether it's Creta. A lot of these cars are actually global nameplates. Yes, I have a problem that we don't have the Sonata, we don't have the Elantra, we don't have the Palisade, we don't have the Santa Fe, we don't have a lot of cars which we think we deserve in India. And there's no Genesis either. But I think the Koreans have managed to kill the Japanese. Right? Today, City, I mean, just imagine a car brand whose entry-level car for India is now their flagship car. The City was the entry level, the way they entered India, and it's sort of the flagship. Obviously now Elevate has come. The Japanese are super conservative, and they have also done a lot in their home market, right? We have a Civic Type R, we have a GR Yaris, we have a GR Corolla.
NSX वगैरह, there are
And
a lot of
yeah. So the point is that, do you think Indian brands are very late to the boat to actually bring a performance brand? Because now when things go electric, there's limited stuff you can do.
Yes, they are too late because they again are thinking where should we put our money? Because, for example, Tata Motors, suddenly they are all electric. They've deviated from their original thing. They don't want to develop new engines. They have done a TGTI engine, which feels like half-hearted attempt. But they don't want to bring in new engines.
But they are actually at least bringing us new gearboxes. So they came up with a new AMT. They call it DCA.
I knew where it's heading. So
okay, now another important thing I want to ask you: how important is patriotism in the car industry from a consumer perspective?
So there is some spark of it, but people will not buy just because of Tata or Mahindra.
So now
they need more reasons to it.
So don't you think Tata and Mahindra is also selling a lot because of patriotism? Do you think that's a factor? Why MG is not selling that well?
So there's this thing, pointer system, like for example, 100 points. If you say that, okay, Creta gets this 100 points and some Curve gets 100 points. Oh, sorry, you just have 100 points, you have to distribute which one gets a higher point. Patriotism का 5 number जुड़ जाता है Tata के साथ में already.
No, but I've also noticed Tata consumers who buy Tata cars, they are less harsh on the brand when issues come along.
Yes, that is true.
That is also because of patriotism?
Yes, that is true.
So do you think patriotism works just in India or globally too?
There's a problem with patriotism. If Tata consumer is not complaining enough, Tata will take time to improve. And that hurts the brand, that hurts the country, that hurts the overall export market. People don't realize it. When I come out and say that, okay, this quality is not as per the global standard, people are like, okay, consider the cost, it's not 50 lakh rupees. But the problem is the same 15 lakh rupees Creta is offering it. So I will talk about it. I have seen global cars. People often criticize me why you go abroad and drive all those cars. Because I have not done my internship or my education from all these car magazines. I need to drive global cars. I need to know what sort of car are
I was
there.
actually thinking this very thing when we were driving down here to the podcast studio. Many people come and question, why are you driving this car? It's not relevant to India. It's not going to be launched. I think it educates us. It creates that experience for us that makes us better at our job. The more cars we drive, the better we are at our job of judging other cars.
Exactly my point, that we have to criticize our manufacturer first. Then they will come on that stage. For example, now what I liked about Tata Motors is they are actually improving. The problem is they are not really bringing new stuff. They are trying to do that, okay, we will improve this particular panel because this was criticized, so let's improve this, but not something around it. So they are not going on the drawing board again and developing an entire new product. For example, Curve, people had high expectation, high hopes. Even I had. I was like, there will be a completely new platform, new engine, new platform, new car, everything will be new. And when Curve came out, it's like, okay, it's Nexon till C-Pillar. After that, it's a different thing. So I'm just saying that if we don't criticize enough, brands will take time to improve. And if they take time to improve, we will again sit here after 10 years and say why Indian car manufacturers are not able to go global. Right now, China will obviously take the leap again because of the EV thing. They are ahead of any other country.
Forget EV. See, Jetor is a rage. In UAE. It's a rage in UAE.
You mark my words. All these experiments on Jetor and other cheap ICE cars of which mimic some other like Jetor mimics Defender, they will fail. it will bite back China because they will not be able to give the reliability and they will not be able to
They
give
are
that
giving 10
10
years
warranty.
10 lakh
know.
kilometer warranty.
That doesn't mean that you will not go service center. You will
No,
keep
it
visiting service
means
centers
that
again and
the
again.
warranty is more than the brand's age.
Yes, exactly. The Jetor, I think in Brazil or somewhere,
So
the
we have
Jetor was launched and killed.
We have driven the Jetor T2. Tell me honestly, what do you think about the car?
Two things. First, I need to put the Defender out.
Forget the Defender.
If I put that out, I think it's actually a great design. The quality is also more than what I could expect from any Chinese brand.
And it has the same Windsor screen for the infotainment.
It has the same. That is the problem. These guys don't know how to develop a UI.
So they don't know.
This would consult TCS and Wipro and all those companies sitting here in India. Anyway, so the problem is the Jetor is a great car in terms of all the plastic quality, metal quality, fit and finish. They have worked on it. They have worked hard on it. Gearbox is an exception. Gearbox is horrible.
It heats in like no time.
Their website says true off-roader or I don't know what, something which means true off-roader. The moment I took it in the sand, the first warning was gearbox overrating. I'm like, what? I just entered the sand patch. It's not even like proper desert or anything. I just entered the sand patch. I rev it and it got... The gearbox goes off, neutral directly.
Obviously, these issues will crop up.
And they'll not be able to improve because their focus is not on ICE cars. They are not focusing on ICE cars. They got their ICE engines because they had collaboration. They were like, okay, copy paste, reverse engineering. We have this VW car engine. Now we want to develop the same engine. Okay, go back to the drawing board. Just, they were not able to obviously understand the nuances of last mile engineering that VW or GM might have, understood in 50, 60 years. It's just that they are trying to do it, but then they soon realize, okay, EVs are the future. Let's put money on that entire EV narrative globally and push EVs because everyone is on the same level field right now. And Chinese are hardworking. They are quality centric. Their education is about quality. They study quality things. Unlike obviously Indians are also a little bit quality centric when you come to buy, but not when we come to manufacturer. We tend to lose a bit of ground when we are manufacturing quality stuff, but we want to buy the quality stuff. So Chinese are good at manufacturing the quality stuff and manufacturing it very fast because of their cheap labor and their extensive population and everything. So they will grow in the EV space if EV grows. That I don't really want to grow.
It will not.
It should not.
Everyone has backtracked actually.
But if it comes back again to ICE things, petrol, diesels, they will not be able to survive against
But
Germans,
at the end of the day, they are just taking engines from here and there and plonking it in. It's
Yes,
not anything
it will
different
not
from
last
what Tata Motors is doing, by the way.
Yes.
Harrier and Safari is using a FCA engine, Stellantis engine, that Compass engine, 2 liter. It's not that...
But it's better that they did not try reverse engineering that Compass engine and developing an horrible thing out of it. So it's better, right? Chinese are doing that thing.
No, someday they'll get it, yeah. You
will.
keep trying it, it will happen. The point is that UAE is one market, Africa, these developing countries.
They've gone to Europe.
Yeah, they're gone to Europe, exactly.
The most quality-centric market they have penetrated there.
Lincoln Co.
Lincoln Co is one example. I've paid so much of rupees. I think 1 lakh.
So I forgot to mention in the intro, he's also stupid.
I am actually.
Okay, now coming back to patriotism, like I was telling you, do you think patriotism plays a huge role in car buying decision in India? Because there are a lot of people, this DKL word which roams all over social media, Desh Ka Loha. It is very prominent, followed by a lot of people, and people call each other like, we are DKL fan or tu to DKL fan and all those things. So I think DKL gang, yeah. So I do feel that patriotism plays a huge role in selling Tata cars in India, at least. Even Mahindra cars to a certain extent. Safety and all aside, patriotism works.
I think patriotism is just a topping on that pizza base.
It is true.
Just possibly. Like safety.
Because safety where the was patriotism 10 years back when Tata Motors was struggling right, left and center, not able to sell a single car.
Exactly. So patriotism was not there then. Because people realize Indica is not really a car that I can put my money just because of the patriotism thing. But then Tata came back with good designs.
What changed for them? 2020 during COVID is what the change happened.
I tell you, so we are discussing this right now that, right now Tata is focusing on making all the cars same. And Tata started realizing that, okay, first focus on business. Do not go everywhere. Come back home. Let's focus on the business part. What's wrong with us? They're like quality. We might not be able to improve it overnight. So what's the next thing wrong? Design. We might not be able to improve it overnight. What's the next thing? Features. We might not be able to improve it overnight. So let's do everything step by step, one by one. take a leap in design first. They got a good designer, probably good designs eventually.
The bad designer left or something like that. Or what?
Some foreign designers and all.
Huh.
They started making good cars, which should look good. Then they came on the feature part. Okay, let's introduce features first. How do we do that? We are not able to bring new suppliers or whatever. Then they realize a very big void in Indian market, that is safety. Because Indian market was cost-centric,
Mahindra is also giving safety.
Value-conscious market back then was not having safe cars. Manufacturers like VW and all, they were VW now, like few years back, or some other guy, Hyundai was coming in or Suzuki was coming in. They were all developing a cheaper version of a platform which was not safe. Right? They had.
I disagree with you on this because Maruti Suzuki has clearly stated we meet all government regulated crash safety norms.
Government regulations were not that hard, na?
Jokes aside,
by the way, Maruti Suzuki makes the same chassis in Europe as well. It's just they have add features and all those sort of things.
No, but the Swift Sport, like the last generation Swift which we drove, the Swift Sport, 5-star in cap.
Because of the features, not because of the chassis.
No, but it's also because of the chassis.
The reinforcements on top of it are
exactly.
So that's where I'm saying.
No, but that's also the same case with Hyundai also.
Yes, right? Exactly. Hyundai,
because they can't sell the car at all.
Exactly. So they know that we cannot sell unsafe cars in such markets. So in India, they can. Because the regulations are not as strict. What was the topic?
Patriotism.
Exactly. So Tata improved on the safety part and they marketed it very well. They got global NCAP. कहीं तो पढ़ा था global NCAP.
They bought it.
Bought in the sense नहीं.
खरीद लिया.
Bring
अच्छा.
in.
Okay.
Not buy it but bring in. कहीं तो global NCAP कुछ तो कोशिश कर रहा था. They said okay आप एक काम करो. Let's plan it. We will give our cars. You test the safety standard and all. If there's some scope to improve, tell us. And then we will market your ratings and bring in the people. At the same time, Indian market was moving towards safer cars because of the lot of highway accidents. New highways were coming up. People were seeing horrible accidents on Instagram and all those sort of things. So Tata Motors, the biggest advantage for them was the safety part. Then obviously patriotism, then obviously new features, good flashy big screens. That's a different topic that they might fail after the delivery itself, which happened in my case. Delivery hote hi, all the warning lights were on. But they were making improvements and that's where they came ahead. Still, they are struggling now for that number 2 spot, which is with Hyundai. So they are still stuck there.
So when I was speaking to Hyundai, they said that we don't fear Tata, but Mahindra, we fear them.
Because Mahindra have profits. That's the problem. Because Mahindra is selling cars which are more of the value. Like it's not, if you count the value-centric Indian consumer mindset, Mahindra is actually selling at a better cost. And same example you said, Mahindra is selling top-end variants. So they have money now. They can do turnarounds faster than Tata. They can do better job at it. That's why they fear Mahindra more than Tata. But Tata, I think, if the EV game continues, they will have some advantage. And unfortunately, EV game will continue as well.
It will not, no matter how much.
What's your problem with EV?
I made a full video. You can click on the top right corner of the screen right now to see that 27-minute video why EVs are not the future.
Problem here.
Anyways, so like we were discussing about patriotism. Globally, everywhere, I think patriotism works very well.
Yes, it works.
And I think because of patriotism, actually you call it patriotism, but it's a cost advantage for a local player. Ford is the most value for money car in the US. Like they're pricing for Ford, for General Motors, like their mainstream cars, the entry level cars, they are the most value for money. I asked my cousins, why did you buy this Ford? Because Ford is found on road dead, right? They're like, if we had to opt for a Toyota, we had to pay around $5,000 more. And for people who are not passionate about cars, paying even $1 more makes no sense to them because cars are commodity to them. And now EVs are obviously going to make cars even more commodities. Which actually brings me again back to the topic, why Indian car brands haven't been able to go global. First is obviously, I think there's no vision to go global for Tata Motors at least. Mahindra is trying. Competition global is way more strict.
Yes.
Indian competition is far less, I feel. Globally, you have Chinese players.
We have actually missed one big thing, the regulations. I'll come to that. Yeah, continue.
So I think there's too much competition globally. Chinese players can do anything with the costing. Established brand, legacy brands. Now you tell me, would you ever buy a Tata car abroad over a VW? No. Over a Toyota? No. Over a Honda? No. And unlike in India where Honda is not doing much, globally Honda is quite strong. With the limited nameplates they have, they are actually very strong.
Say I tell you the regulation part. The sub 4 meter law in India
is rubbish.
There is, I mean, there was a reason why it came, and I respect that part. But it kills the ambitions of Indian manufacturing abroad, and also global manufacturing setting up their facilities here to manufacture for the world. That is also a big problem. Government should realize it now that sub 4 meter has killed more, business than what it has given us. Swift Desire came in. It was not sub 4 meter. Suddenly Swift Desire choti ho gayi piche se because of sub 4 meter law. The same Desire would have gone in multiple other markets. The Ford Aspire was actually a longer version. It would have gone in multiple other markets. The
Economies of scale.
Economy of scale must have come down, but they were not able to sell. EcoSport, fortunately, they developed it so well that.
But it was longer in certain countries.
EcoSport was not. It was not India manufactured EcoSport. India manufactured EcoSport.
Sub 4 meter.
Sub 4 meter. US में जो जाती थी. So, though the Ford Ka Plus, which was more than 4 meter, was manufactured here, the problem is the regulation came in, and it came in with the things 1.2 for petrol, 1.5 for diesel. Many other markets wanted more power, more space. Why would they buy a sub 4 meter thing? They don't have taxation advantage there. They don't have taxation advantage on petrols and diesels having less CCs. They want more power. They're not very much centric with the fuel efficiency thing. So manufacturers were not able to see India as an export hub either. And same thing, Indian manufacturers must have also felt on some point of time that, okay, we have to first cater our market so that we survive. Then we think of other things. The dreams will come later. So that was also one reason. The regulation part was also one more reason. And also the startup ecosystem in big manufacturing things like automobile. China had had this advantage of startup ecosystem coming in 70s, 80s, 90s. Government was supporting back then. Okay, you make whatever you can. We will try and sell wherever possible.
You're talking for the automobile industry?
Almost all. Automobile component
industry, the way the government is supported, Indian government cannot think in 100 generations.
Yes, exactly. They can't.
Cannot think. You know
because
what?
Our priorities are different.
You know what they did? You know the whole story behind it. So they made this rule that you cannot enter directly. You have to partner with a local partner.
In China,
you have to have
India
a local
also
partner.
had the same thing.
Till 1991, LPG
before
happened.
the liberalization.
LPG, So they had this rule that you cannot enter without having a local partner. The whole idea behind was that with the local partner, the local partner gets to learn from global brands. This is exactly
50-50 partnership in everything, manufacturing, technology, sharing, everything.
So now the local brands are learning from global brands. Now that is great knowledge transfer.
Yes.
Firstly. Secondly, the government told the local brands, you make any car you want. Don't fear copyright. We will save you.
Exactly. Indians are more law-abiding citizens, and
it's not about law-abiding. It's the government does not support the local brands. That's the problem.
No. So we have done copyright infringement. Mahindra is facing that challenge with Jeep in Australia and
no. So I'm not talking about that. I'm saying the government support for the local Chinese brands was this: you make whatever you want, we will support you.
Yes.
So now they obviously made clones of multiple cars, which brands were not happy. I remember when the Land Wind X7 came along, which is basically a clone of the Evoque, Land Rover was furious. They said, you will stop selling cars in China. Josh mein to bol diya. Then they realized that China accounts for majority of the sales.
That is the point.
That's when they backtracked.
Exactly.
They couldn't do anything.
The
but
market
they did a
is
court.
that huge.
They did a court case. It went to the court. The court said these cars look very different. Because the Chinese government promised local players that we will support you.
To the core.
Now the only thing is European Union came into the picture when they exported all these cars. They seized them on the border. Cars can't go out, cars can't come in. Then they realized they need to tweak their strategy. So that is when they decide to stop cloning cars. They still are doing it with Jetor and all those things. The point is, this unwavering support for local brands is because the government has a stake in the brand. Because all the Chinese brands are owned by state governments. Like BAIC, SAIC, whatever, like Shanghai Automobile Industrial Corporation, Shanghai State has it's a Shanghai State company, right? Similarly with Beijing. So is that support coming because they wanted to grow the government, or how?
No, eventually.
Why we couldn't do it in India?
See, I tell you, it boils down to patriotism part. Our idea of patriotism is very different.
No, our idea of patriotism is standing in the cinema hall when the national anthem rings, but throwing garbage on the road, spitting on the road.
Well, that is not case with most of the companies, most of the countries. Koreans' idea of patriotism very simple. We want to promote Korean culture. We want to promote Korean manufactured products. We want to improve our quality. China is almost the same thing. We want to take the entire nation to that place which US has enjoyed for a long, long time. So this entire thing of supporting brands, manufacturer, developing good things, making it for the world, or maybe let's say US mein, when we talk why Ford is famous, they are not famous because people bought Ford because Ford was an American company. They criticized Ford. They made them improve things. They bought things.
Americans only coined the term found on road date.
Exactly.
But Ford made cars like Mustang.
They experimented.
GT40.
That patriotism thing is lacking in us, in Indian, particular Indian people, because if it was there, our quality would have improved a lot. But again, there was a big problem. We were not having that big pockets. जो जरूरत थी उस टाइम पे to get good cars or get good quality or government to support. Government was more focusing on eliminating poverty and diseases and all those sort of things rather than manufacturing for the world. We had different issues and obviously we have dealt with them. We might have dealt better way or anything like that. But car was never a focus point in India till like last 20 years.
That was a government's plan. Maruti was a government plan.
That's because it was a need.
The people's car.
In that case, we were manufacturing trucks and all, Bedford and all, way back in Jonga was there. A lot of things were there. But the scale was not there. That was the problem.
So what is next for Indian car brands? Do you think they'll go global? If yes, by which year?
Right now, even the established players are thinking, what is next? Germans are thinking, what do we do next? Chinese are okay, like they're like, we have money, we can do
they
whatever
can go they can blindfold themselves and hit the dart in the dark.
But they are burning a lot of cash, which might come and bite back them.
No, it won't. Yeah. They have so much cash to burn also.
See, it's just one flip in the entire push of EVs. It might come and people might come and say, okay, EVs are not required anymore. The petrol and diesels are fine. Then Chinese are back where they started. That is a big problem. But obviously, it will not happen overnight. It's a fairy tale sort of thing. But Indian car brand, I think right now, Mahindra is taking a very right approach. Slow, steady. Tata should take it or not? No. They should first improve the quality. And then they should start taking all these approaches. They have a great way of, earning the knowledge. They have GLR, which not really is known for reliability.
That's a match made in heaven.
Not known for reliability, but still they have more, the process is there. They can obviously do cost cutting and bring that process here as well. They have tried bringing items like gear knob Uthalia and things, steering Uthalia, but not really copy pasting. They should bring in the quality first, then the design and all those sort of things. So Tata will grow, yes, but will they be able to grow globally? I doubt. Mahindra will,
because products are not distinctive.
Yes, Mahindra will grow globally. I truly believe in them. They will be able to do that because right now they have a good base in India.
Other than the Thar, obviously.
The other problem is their Jeep copywriting. That will bite them here or there because Jeep will not let them do that thing.
But I will tell you one thing: they might not be able to go global with Thar. But they will make more money from Thar than they can ever imagine.
In India itself.
In India itself.
No, but Scorpio N is a global product. 700 is. I really want, again, SsangYong Tivoli is the XUV 300 when it was. So it's not that Indians have not really copied or not really adapted the brands that they have bought or worked with, but they have done in a good way. In a better way. The quality is much better than any Chinese company copying VW overnight or anything like that. So the road ahead is probably just improving the quality and still keeping the cost in check and then making people realize, okay, is your VW more expensive? Is your Ford more expensive now? We have the same quality here. Or maybe let's say if that is 20, this is 19. It's the same quality, almost 90%.
But don't you think the learning curve is way too much for Indian car brands? Like Mahindra, Mahindra bought SsangYong, okay? And Tata has bought GLR. It's been a long time since they bought GLR.
I don't think Tata is even trying to learn anything. Their focus has changed completely.
They don't need to, bro. Because why will people in Tata Motors try to learn anything when they have machine learning? Let the machine learn whatever it wants. Seriously speaking, you know why? I'll tell you. Geely bought Volvo. And they have learned a lot.
The Lincoln could come out of that.
Exactly. The products, the transformation which Geely has had since the purchase of Volvo is massive. But I have not seen any massive change in Tata Motors because they bought GLR. No, maybe because GLR is not themselves so quality focused or quality centric.
I think again the fact that you said the government-backed companies in China and their strong market back home, where
today majority of the trending content on Instagram today, is some Chinese car either dancing or jumping or turning or flipping or flopping. Why can't we have an Indian car there?
Dancing, jumping, flipping, flopping. Our cars are flipping and flopping on highways, so that's not really. The ESC problems are real. Anyway, so.
Which is your favorite Indian car?
Right now, I'll give it to Scorpion.
Scorpion.
I think I'll give it to Scorpion.
What would you do to improve that product from a global perspective? You've driven global cars. You come here like you're driving the Outlander right now. Right? Outlander is more or less the same segment as a Scorpion. What is there in that car, in the Mitsubishi, which is lacking in the Scorpio?
The finish of the features and how it has been done.
So the infotainment on the Scorpion, I know it hangs.
Yes.
I know the screen will not turn on at times. But it's far better in terms of colors, UI, aesthetics and visuals when compared to the Outlander's black and white Nokia 3310 screen.
Yes. So we are able to, we know the design part better. No? We know the design.
Better than the Japanese.
The UI part better. Better than Japanese, better than Chinese. Chinese are horrible at
Forget
the UI
Chinese,
part.
so I will not even consider
They are horrible at it. उनको समझ ही नहीं आ रहा पता नहीं क्या कर रहे हैं वो. But
that's the reason why you don't use Chinese watch. Like I have a Chinese watch with me right now, and you have a 3 lakh rupee watch from.
It's a Chinese copy. 3,000.
I don't believe
Not
it.
a Chinese copy.
Where did all that money go from Tata Motors, which you got to promote the Punch, which you've been driving since so long?
This is also a rumor going around that he has been gifted Punch by, and Tata Motors on the other side. When we meet them, they say, "आप criticize करते रहोगे Tata को,
Okay, I can confirm. I have verified his bank account details. He has not paid for the car. It has been gifted to him along with this watch which he's wearing.
There are more rumors starting from the industry side than the consumer side.
Now you tell me, what is there in the Outlander which is not there in the Scorpio?
What's there in the Outlander which is not there in the Scorpio?
Not from a features perspective, but overall engineering perspective.
It's the reliability part. It's the suspension reliability, it's the steering reliability. By the way, this has also got some steering issue, so I can't say the reliability part, but the engine is much better. And they have proven records. Their brand awareness is more than Mahindra. Their track record of providing quality is more than Mahindra.
I'll tell you what is the difference. You want to know? What do you think of the Mitsubishi brand?
One Japanese brand which couldn't make it.
Exactly. But why do you know Mitsubishi? Why don't you know brands like Skion? Why don't you know brands like multiple Japanese brands? There are a lot of brands we don't know about. But why do you know brands like Mazda? Why do you know brands like Mitsubishi? Why?
Because they have done some or other work which...
Because Mitsubishi put their life, soul, passion into a project called the Evolution. The Lancer Evo was so successful to them in creating an image for the brand. Same thing with Mazda, the Miata. It has created that beautiful image. Our Indian brands suffer here. People come and they like totally ogle at the Sierra, which was an absolute garbage car back in the day. Just it was looking different looking. I've driven the car. It is nothing spectacular about it. Our threshold is so low, right? We never push the brands further. So that's why I've been always talking about a halo model. There has to be a halo model. Like the Bugatti project was just Volkswagen Group saying, we can do this. Yeah.
True that.
So the Indian brands don't understand is that we need to create that halo model.
Whether it sells or not.
Whether it sells or not. Obviously, the Evo, the whole Evo series is the reason why we know Mitsubishi. Otherwise, we would not know what Mitsubishi is making, right? You know this Outlander is using the...
because of AC. Mitsubishi electric.
So, do you know this Outlander is using the same engine platform and all those things? Not the engine platform, but no, I think the engine is used from your favorite car, the Nissan X-Trail.
No, it's X-Trail is with the hybrid engine. Huh?
No.
The
they have a hybrid also. They have a 1.5 hybrid also here. Ours is not the hybrid, but they're using platforms because now it's part of the alliance. Mitsubishi, Nissan, Renault.
And by the way, those two companies are there in India, but Mitsubishi is not.
Because Mitsubishi eloped with the wrong person. Hindustan Motors is by far the worst car brand, the destructor of the Indian automobile industry. These guys did nothing. They just sat, oh, you know what, this is selling. Let's sell this for eternity. They had such a nice first mover advantage with the Ambassador.
Outlander also there in India till 2020.
Forget Mitsubishi. But what did Hindustan Motors do?
Nothing much. I think, and that's why Maruti took that entire leap when they started.
The pure business thing that imports stuff from abroad and sell it at a slight premium.
Many brands are doing it.
No, in electric, everybody is doing it. At least in two-wheelers. Other than the few
That
brands.
brings me to a great question. Indian car manufacturers might not be able to make it there, but two-wheelers manufacturers are they doing it. Why? Because they provided quality and still kept the cost in check. Which
that's a good thing. So we have discussed about why Indian car brands have not been able to go global. But why have Indian two-wheeler brands been able to go global?
Because the China model was followed. You do partnership with the local manufacturers. TVS was with Suzuki, Hero was with Honda, and this other player, Bajaj was there with
multiple people.
Multiple
Polygamy,
people now.
yeah.
But what's the first company? Bajaj. It's not clicking me. Kawasaki.
Bajaj was Eliminator.
Kawasaki. So, and they learned it from there. And
So,
they knew that, okay, we can do that part, if not 100%, 90%.
I disagree. It's not that the car brands have not tried. Mahindra did it with Ford.
Tried.
Mahindra did it with Ford.
Remember, the market in two-wheeler was much more strong in India. Our focus in 80s was cycle, motorcycle, then cars. Not the other way.
So the moral of the story is that all Indian car brands, all Indian automobile brands, whether it's two-wheelers or four-wheelers, all of them tried the same model of trying to learn from a global player, wherein
two-wheeler tried it hard. Two-wheeler tried it hard.
No, the two-wheeler guys were smart enough to partner with Japanese brands who knew how quality is so important, but brands like Mahindra partnered with brands like Ford, which was not very quality centric.
I tell you one more thing. If so, Indian four-wheeler market started growing post 90s. Let's say 2000. It's that time when it started rising to a level that we could count on things like, okay, this is a stable market. Two-wheeler market started rising before that. And if the liberalization was not there in place, if the government was still adamant that 50-50 partnership will happen, you have to share the technology with Indian companies. Today we might have seen more companies making better cars, but the market would have been a little different. But it would have been better. Indian companies would have been more and better, and just like the two-wheeler thing. And we might still be selling in Africa and all those sort of countries, not really going to Europe, because all these two-wheeler companies we are talking, they're not really grown in Europe and America and all those sort of markets. They're grown in Africa.
Because our products are more economy-centric.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. We would have seen better Indian car companies outside if it was 50-50 market thing, like you come in India, the tie up with Indian manufacturers, till 2010 or so. But our market was opened in 1990s and the companies were coming directly. Suzuki started coming directly even more. Like they came with Maruti, obviously. Hyundai came. Then other brands also tried, Skoda, Volkswagen. So the thing is, the enough technology sharing has not happened in four-wheeler space, but it happened in two-wheeler space. And we were not able to grow ourselves because the market here was not that strong. The quality demand was not that strong. They were like, do jugaad and sell whatever possible. And then consumers eventually backed out because they realized, okay, we don't want this jugaad. We have a better option.
But I think the trend is changing. Don't you think? At least in that particular in that segment, if you see the Japanese brands have no impact in higher segments, right? So there's a huge gap between, say, a Toyota urban cruiser high rider and a Fortuner. There's nothing between that gap, like a big fat gap, right? From a 20 lakh segment to almost a 45-50 lakh segment. Japanese brands have not been able to make an impact there. I think Indian brands have been smart enough to slot their products right in between there, in no man's land. Right.
Because otherwise they were not really making it here. So they were not having cost advantage. These guys were making here. They had that cost advantage. And the road presence thing also started catching up in India. We need bigger cars. We are no longer happy with all those.
So moral of the story is that brands like Honda, Toyota, and a lot of others have robbed us of good cars. Like we deserve CRVs, we deserve Civics, Accords. Okay,
made in India CRVs.
Yeah,
made in India.
Made in India CRV. Okay, forget the sedan segment. But come on, Civic is such a basic car to have. It's Honda's oldest nameplate. It is the reason why Honda exists today.
Think of Honda India people watching that Civic is such a basic car to have.
No, I'll tell you, the Civic Type R we are driving, it does not have a rear center headrest, doesn't have a rear center armrest, doesn't have an auto-dimming mirror, right?
No ventilator seats.
No, forget ventilated seats. Doesn't have these basics of features. Yet, it is so much in demand globally. Why?
It's a great product. It's a great product to drive. It's a reliable product. Honda's bulletproof reliability.
The problem is where our Japanese brands stop their products in India at that range or size. that is where globally they start. So in US, Honda's most affordable car is a Civic. Then they have the Accord. Then they have multiple cars. I think
Big roads.
they have
bigger
Pilot.
engine.
They have Odyssey. So they have amazing cars.
Yeah, so that,
It's not about that, yaar. It's that nobody committed to making products for India
because
in the higher
market
segment.
was not that strong.
No, it is because of the perception which brands have. Like I think these Japanese brands have this horrendous perception that India wants to buy cheap. Let's make cheap cars. Let's make cars which are low in cost and let's sell them.
It was it was true some years back, some
But
decades back.
Citroen still thinks the same.
Citroen is a fool, I tell you. Citroen, the problem with Citroen is they came with the car exactly what Indians were buying, not really wanted to buy. They thought, okay, we will bring Basalt, a car that in 14 lakh rupees, all the features which Indians usually buy. A Creta is being sold, let's say 16 lakh ticket price with jo Creta hai, they have all the features in 14 lakh. They are like, okay, everyone is buying that model of Creta, we have exact same features here. Now people will buy our car. The problem is the aspiration is not there. The Creta also comes at 23 lakhs. People look at that part, okay, such great car, wow, so many features. Maybe I'll buy a lower variant, but I'll buy the same car. Citroen के साथ वो problem है. There is no aspiration at all. They understood the market too much, I think. That's the problem.
Problem of aspiration also belongs to car brands like Lexus.
By the way, Citroen is facing the same problem in India, which Mahindra and Tata are facing abroad. Lack of brand awareness. What is Citroen? That is also a problem, which is now a 100-year-old brand, I think.
No, but Citroen has roped in Dhoni. He will single-handedly change the perception of everybody in the country. When will car brands realize spending money on brand ambassadors with a product is not going to work?
Exactly.
Maruti Suzuki did it with the Versa. They had Amitabh Bachchan, they had Abhishek Bachchan. Nobody bought that car.
If it was just about brand ambassadors, Hyundai would have solely survived on Shah Rukh Khan's image. But they don't use Shah Rukh Khan that much. More they focus is on quality, features and everything. So that's the thing.
The awkward silence. But you said Citroen is a fool. That will go into a reel, you know that, right?
You'll get me blocked just like Vikas got me blocked from Nissan. Saying that
Nissan. What is Nissan up to?
Nissan is also a fool. A bigger fool actually. Who has seen the market, who has studied the market, who has sold cars in the market, who had access to various things which Citroen, obviously being a new player,
no, but
had
at
no
least
idea.
Nissan, I respect them. They got GTR into India.
Yeah.
At least they got something. I'm still waiting for the Type R.
CBU cars is very easy.
You get Civic from as a CBU. Why don't Japanese brands even try? Volkswagen got Polo GTI, CBU. They at least tried. GTR came from Nissan. They at least tried.
The problem is they will bring in, like Nissan did with X-Trail. They got a global product. Koi nahi kharidega. People like us will come and say, okay, this is a thing for us because it makes no sense. The problem is that there are enough there's enough calculations being done by the consumers that they will not buy anything which is priced little bit higher. They're like, okay, will not. Unless there's some emotional value. For example, why you can sell Thar at a price tag which Thar has? Because the emotional value of it. The Thar ka wo Dhakad road present, there's no
But
other car can offer it.
how will you create an image in the market? How will you create a perception? Right? Ford got Mustang only to create that perception. They created it and they left.
But the Nissan cannot create any perception with Honda cannot create any perception with Civic. Nissan cannot create any perception with X-Trail.
No, so exactly. So Nissan got the GTR. They gave John Abraham the car, and he's now just having fun. But I don't know what Nissan is up to in India.
Their problem is very different. The alliance and not being able to take decisions. Japanese are way too much, controlling them. And the Indian management is still not really having much clue of what to do in Indian market. In fact, I think they should just exit and let Renault run the show completely. Yeah. And Renault will do a better job, I believe. Despite being a French car company, which they usually don't do a good job. But that's the thing.
Okay, which brings me to the question. You have to decide and you have to tell me one name. Is it Citroen or is it Nissan? Which will leave India market next?
It should be Nissan to leave Indian market first. Because Citroen has
just entered, let them finish the money, then they will leave.
Citroen came with a very different direction. They consider India as a powerhouse for their engine. They will continue manufacturing drivetrains and all those sort of things in India.
Which Ford is planning to do.
Which Ford is planning to do now.
Which General Motors was doing till a few years. So for that, they don't have to have domestic presence. Huh?
Exactly. No, but Citroen, they still don't have much harm in selling all those cars in India. Na? They are already manufacturing it all here.
We are mentioning...
Nissan is in a different problem.
We are mentioning car brands which have failed miserably in India. We have not taken the name Jeep. How is that possible?
Yes. I mean, this was a question before the Stellantis merger happened, that whether Jeep will exit or not.
How are they surviving?
I think the group itself is such big thing, and they are not really able to decide globally what should they do.
Now I think they're getting Leap Motors.
They're also planning some more things now. So they're not going to leave anytime soon.
They will just leap out of India.
The Nissan might, and they should leave India now.
Save resources, save money, save time, save effort.
At least they should change the direction of what they are. And they cannot change the direction being in the same fabric which they are right now.
So actually Nissan is thinking that one day or overnight, some miracle will happen from government regulations and we will flood the market with our e-power.
E-power. Oh, they tried a lot. Even there was a point of time I was also thinking that, okay, the government should at least let them try with the hybrid thing. Let's remove taxation on hybrid, let them try. Now I am in that zone, okay, since the government was not giving you clarity, you're still sitting on that hybrid thing from last 10 years.
But at the end of the day, it's a level playing field, right?
Exactly.
What is applicable to Nissan is also applicable to Tata, brands. Mahindra, Honda, or whatever.
They are like, we will bring our technology or will not come. So then leave. Simple. Leave. That's the thing. That's why many manufacturers left. Okay, it's harming our market. Many manufacturers, but we have good stable company like Hyundai. VW is also somehow stabilizing, but they are also kind of a fool company to exist. They didn't get the market right. I mean, they thought that a brand with such great aspiration in Indian consumer, they said, okay, we will Indianize our things. So they went wrong there. And however, I have full respect for VW and Skoda that they invested in a sedan first and not letting that thing damage.
But the
emotional value doesn't count.
But the problem is that because of the sub 4 meter rule, they could not get the Polo.
Again, sub 4 meter is killing them.
Yeah, again, the Polo.
And they have reached to a level that they're not even trying now. They tried with MEO, a fresh product, invested a lot, and like a chopped off product.
So what that chopping off, they 550 crore took to chop that boot off.
Some 70 million.
Yeah, it was an expensive chop.
Euro. The chopping board was still expensive thing. But they tried it back then and they realized it's not working. We will not even try now. So the VW is clearly saying we are not even coming in sub 4 meter market again. They will come, I believe.
They will have to come. Skoda is launching sub 4 meter.
Easy unke liye.
Just change the logos and.
But I also believe that VW should now hand over the baton to Skoda completely. And just simply say that you run the show.
They are running the show. They are running the show.
You run it and you run it a better way. There's no point of two brands existing side by side. VW, Skoda, Nissan, Renault making same cars. Hyundai Kia has a very different strategy at least. You cannot compare, like for example, Magnite and Kiger, they are very much same. But Kia, Seltos and Creta are not. Grand Vitara and Hyryder are very much same. But then they are not doing it at the manufacturing level. At least they are manufacturing in just one part and not really marketing it that way. It's more of a badge engineered thing. But VW and Skoda, they're trying to portray themselves as a two separate brand, but they're not. So why do it that when the eventually profit is going in one hand?
But the VW model is like that. So in India, we only have Skoda and VW, right? In the mass market segment. Globally, they also have Seat. And Seat is also making the same cars.
No, but the companies are different, na? Here the company same hai. VW, Skoda is same company.
They had to merge it.
Nissan, Renault is the same company eventually at the top. Hyundai Kia are different companies. At the top, they are still different companies. Global level pe they are same
companies. So at the top and all, whatever they might be, from a consumer perspective, the product should be differentiated.
So eventually you're spending twice in marketing, right? Your Virtus is also being marketed. Slavia is also being marketed. Same product. Marketing it twice. And still not getting...
So you're telling me if either of those brands did not exist, then the single brand would be doing the volumes of the combined brands?
If not volumes, they would have been doing profits at least. Similar number of profits, similar amount of profit they would have. And they would have been in a better position to scale up. That's the thing. So profit is important. Not many people realize. It is very important for a brand to earn money so that you can experiment, you can do turnarounds and you can do things. Not volumes. Everyone is in the volume game. Toyota is not in volume game.
Toyota is the mothership. It is the volume maker. It sells the most cars in the world. Like VW, Toyota.
I'm saying India part. Toyota is very clear about it. We can sell Fortuner. Even at more profits than
it's not that Toyota has been very smart to make this decision. They failed miserably with Etios twins. And they
That's why
realized कि हमसे नहीं
they
होगा.
didn't even try now.
After that, they didn't try. They
Leave
went to
it.
Maruti. They're like, here are some logos, plonk it and give it to us.
The Toyotas realized this not really very early, but after some time that, okay, we cannot beat Maruti in their game. Nobody can beat
But
Maruti
one
in their game.
second,
Nobody
why
can
do you want to
Hyundai.
beat Maruti?
Exactly, that's also the point.
What Hyundai said, I think Hyundai CEO had said a few years back that we don't want to be the number one brand, but we want to be the most loved brand because they realize we can't beat Maruti.
Exactly.
It's impossible to beat Maruti.
Let's not fight brand in their own turf, na. Make your separate identity. Which Toyota failed. They're like, okay, we will sell. We will enter that low-cost market. You can't make low-cost cars for India. That is the game. Maruti has done it so well that you cannot compete there.
And they don't even sell those many numbers anymore of the
To
entry-level
sell
model.
numbers, to do
But
numbers,
Maruti is also not doing it now.
To do numbers, they had to bring Maruti ka model in their dealerships. So that at least their dealers are happy that, okay, we have more numbers, we have more services coming in. So obviously that's because of the understanding of Suzuki and Toyota's JV globally. But at least they had to do it here because dealers are also unhappy. Like, अरे कब तक Fortuner बेचेंगे service पे नहीं आती है.
But like you're blaming Volkswagen Skoda of having the same models. At least a Virtus looks dramatically different from a Slavia. A Taycan looks dramatically different from the Kushaq. But
they look different.
They look different.
They look better to me. Slavia looks better to me.
Virtus looks better to me. And the Kushaq looks better than the Taycan to me.
Yes, I agree on that also.
But you are a Skoda fan, that's why you are getting to all this.
I am not a Skoda fan. I don't know when was the last time I drove a Skoda. But I am a fan of Octavia.
The point is, the Glanza is nothing but a Maruti Suzuki Baleno with a Toyota logo.
Wait, there's no differentiation at all. That's what I'm saying. They are not even trying. Toyota is not even trying to say that.
Exist only. If some products should not exist, that is one is the Glanza,
dealer
and
level
then is
it's the dealer sort of thing. Dealer wants more sales. Dealer wants more services.
No, it's more to do with cafe. I feel they are selling big
yes,
fat heavy diesel Fortuners. They want to neutralize it.
But that's a trick that they are using against government. Government should realize that, okay, you are not manufacturing it. They are doing it. But I think it will exist, and they are not really putting much money on the Glanza's marketing.
But it's not just in India. In Namibia, in South Africa, we saw the Celerio with the Toyota logo.
What was the name?
It's a weird name. It's a very weird name.
Some weird name, huh? Ritz to nahi tha. There was some other name.
Toyota.
Some name. And let's put it here.
S से था कुछ.
नहीं, S से नहीं था.
Starlet क्या है?
That is Celerio.
Celerio? Well, let me Google it. I think it's Toyota Vitz.
Vitz it is. Vitz, yes. Toyota Vitz.
So we have discussed everything other than the topic of this podcast, which is why Indian car brands can't go global.
I'll summarize it.
Okay, summarize. Go for it.
Indian car brands could have gone global 30 years back.
How will they go 30 years back? They were making trash back then.
I'm putting condition. Na? If they had quality-centric audience or consumers here in India itself, we didn't have that much of economy, that much of.
So you are talking like some weird influencer who blames consumers for the brand not existing or doing well.
No. I'm blaming the overall economy itself. It's the overall condition itself. Not really to blame, but it's just the condition that was not really great. The turf was not great for developing.
So what was the condition which was not great that Tata Motors decided that, you know what, we'll not develop this engine, the 2.2 diesel. Let's just throw it away. Let's bring like a loaned engine.
Because
when Mahindra was doing exactly the opposite.
They knew that we will not have enough sales.
But they are doing enough sales with Harrier Safari.
That's because it's not enough to bring in a 2.2 car emission friendly version.
But Mahindra is doing it.
Mahindra ka entire game is that Mahindra has more cars. They sell more cars than Tata in that
when they
segment.
Developed this, they did not have Thar in the picture at all. They never imagined that the Thar can sell in these many numbers. It was purely for the Scorpio and Scorpio Classic and the 700.
This new engine?
This new emission norms came in 2020 when Tata discontinued the 2.2 liter engine. But Mahindra made sure it met the new emission norms.
They had no other option. Tata was looking at smaller cars to sell. Mahindra was very sure that we cannot sell KUVs, E2Os and all those things. So they had to bring a new engine, and they were very focused on global market. They knew we could improve in quality. They knew we could improve in engines and all. So they did it. Tata was very sure that we are not able to survive right now. We were first supposed to bring back our all these iconic nameplates. They are smaller cars which can sell in numbers. Tiago, Tigor, and the Nexon and all those sort of. So their focus was different. Mahindra's focus was different, and it's great that their focus was different. Otherwise, they would have, eaten into their own markets, and some other Japanese or some other company would have taken that share as well.
No, I don't think it would happen because Mahindra is making cars which are distinct, right? Their USP is they're giving body on frame. Firstly, they're giving 4-wheel drive. So there's that genuineness to the product of being an SUV.
The quality is also there, na?
The quality is also
They,
there. But
they cannot sell Scorpio Classic to all these people who are buying.
People are buying it because it's a body on frame, which has the SUV feel and the worst safety record in the history of automobile industry.
Scorpio Classic, you're saying?
Classic, yeah.
Classic के बंदे को they cannot sell Scorpio and XUV or no sorry the other way around. But they cannot sell XUV, Scorpio and.
But Mahindra doesn't have to.
Scorpio.
But Tata could have sold Safari, na?
This new Safari with that 2.2 engine.
They could have sold a body on frame, the old Safari, if they had updated it. There is still a market for a body on frame SUV.
No, it's sad they didn't do it.
Exactly, that's the point.
It's sad they didn't do it, but I think if they had done that, they would have not focused that much on the electrics and all those stuff.
The point is, Tata Motors, I feel now, is being run by accountants to a certain extent. Right?
Doing a lot of calculations, you think?
We have a lot of calculation. Okay, let's discontinue body on frame and all. There's a big market. Our tier 2, tier 3 markets love body on frame cars. Mahindra is offering body on frame throughout. Bolero is there. Bolero Neo is there.
The trust was not there in Tata's back then. Mahindra people is still trusting. The people in rural areas, they had some trust.
Safari, the older Safari, the real Safari, far better than the Scorpio Classic. Far better. Drives better. Doesn't feel that hairy. Like the Scorpio Classic feels very hairy.
But you talk to people who are now getting it repaired. It's easy to repair a Scorpio or let's say even those Armadas and all those sort of things than a Safari. It is that level. Because Tata did introduce electronics, did introduce a few things, and obviously the last mile people are not able to. So the overall brand perception in terms of reliability, Mahindra had it better. And that's why they were able to rely.
They have it still.
Yes,
so basically Tata Motors needs to work on quality. That's what you're trying to say.
But still they will not be able to go global with that. No, they can't.
So there is no sight of Tata Motors going global, but
at least as of now.
Mahindra is going.
Mahindra is going, and Mahindra can continue growing, going with their ICE vehicles.
The problem, I'll tell you.
The moment they come to EVs,
they're dead.
They will face that Chinese.
Exactly,
war.
that's the problem. Now, if Tata Motors wants to go global with EVs,
they can't.
They can't because the Chinese are so strong there.
Exactly. They will not let it happen. What do you want Chinese to make? A 5-star rated car? They'll make overnight. It's not a problem for them. So, the Tata is not having enough products to take global. Mahindra is having, they have niche market, limited market, but at least they have market. They have the entire Africa thing. Nobody is tapping it right now. Africa is now slowly getting that appetite of, newer cars, better quality cars, not really ripped off or second-hand American, European cars. So they are now developing that. Probably they might tap on it. So there are other markets as well, South American markets. Obviously, the Southeast Asia is completely Japan ka market, and it will not change anytime soon. But the problems again remains the same. We can't go now. We could have gone, but we didn't have the turf back then, and multiple other problems that we discussed. Is there any solution or any sight? Not yet.
Do you think Tata Motors also thinks that we don't need to go global? We have JLR. That could be our arm of expanding into more markets, probably.
Right now, they are not even thinking going global. Right now, they are like, we want to go to the number 2 spot first.
Because if they go global, they have a big challenge. They can't put the sticker behind vocal for local.
Awesome.
Anyways, thank you
so
much for joining.
Needs to understand the regulation needs to change now. That's a very important part. So regulations needs to change now. It should be a level playing field.
It will never not change. You know why?
It should.
I'll tell you why it will not change. The moment they think about it, Maruti will put a lot of lobbying there. Because they are selling a lot of sub 4 meter cars. They will say, we have gone and developed Desire at a cost of $3 trillion just for your rule.
Now, I think if once it started happening, the entire talk about this started happening. I remember Hero and all these people were saying that we cannot do BS4 shift because we have visors printed, we have other equipment printed which cannot be used on the BS4 vehicles. BS4
That's nice one.
And the I think court intervened or some body intervened saying that okay, this you have to shift. Overnight it happened. You remember how the bikes were being sold at discounts of 20-30%.
Navi and all were for the 20K.
Navi was free with some bike and all those sort of things. It happened because government came in like, okay, enough. Now you have
yeah,
to
but
change.
the point is the level of lobbying these guys will put, especially Maruti as a brand, because they are selling
There's
a lot of
very
stuff for
less
meter.
to lose with that brand. Okay, you still want to continue sub 4 meter? Continue. We are not saying that sub 4 meter is banned. We are just saying that rule is no more. So you can open up yourself.
I will tell you what is the problem. Maruti's focus has largely been on sub 4 meter cars. They barely have anything more than sub 4 meter. They have just one car, right? Or am I missing something?
What?
Two cars they have now. One is the Eco
Grand Vitara.
and the Grand Vitara. Other than that, they don't have anything above sub 4 meter.
Ciaz and Grand Vitara.
So I forgot about it because Maruti's itself forgotten about it. But very limited models. So now when that rule will get abolished, they will be at a big disadvantage, and they will come and say that we have invested and done our product lineup for the next 1 million years as per your policy. Now you can't backtrack on that.
If they are lobbying on it, they should stop doing it, because
They will not. It's all purely about profit. A car brand which has dominated
other
the Indian
brands-
market. A
other
car
brands-
brand which has dominated the Indian market, made so much money, and they have not done anything for the car enthusiast. It's so profit centric. You think they will let go of this?
I think they are also smart enough to understand that right now they are losing sales not because of sub 4 meter. People are buying longer cars or more. They are losing that ground because now people want more safety and more power and all those sort of things. So they are smart enough to understand that. And if the sub 4 meter is changing, for example, tomorrow government comes and says, okay, no sub 4 meter law, sell the car the way you want, as long as they meet other standards. All the other companies cannot come overnight. They will also take some time now, because they all adapted to sub 4 meter thing. So they'll also take some time.
No, so it also depends on how the sub 4 meter rule changes.
Yeah,
Right?
that's also-
Now the sub 4 meter rule says that if your car is above 4 meters and not in that particular displacement, you
taxation.
pay more taxation. You are saying that cars under 4 meters will not have that tax benefit anymore.
No, I'm not saying not tax benefit. The taxation system should change. It should not prioritize a 4 meter car. That's what I'm saying. So maybe reduce taxation on the cars which are more than 4 meters. I'm saying that.
Okay, so you're saying bring it on the same line.
Exactly. Bring it on the same.
The thing is, if-
Let's do one thing. Increase 5% here, reduce 5% there. Still, there's a possibility.
The point here is that if the Jimny was selling well, then it would make sense to them. Because that doesn't fit in the sub 4 meter rule because of the engine.
There's one manufacturer who introduced some sort of plug on their chassis to reduce that SUV. I think Mahindra did with Scorpio Classic.
No, I think someone did it, yeah.
So there are ways to tackle around the regulations of not being SUV, all those sort of things. But it's just the regulation should now be global level ka. I feel that. That's it.
Okay, this topic can be endless
Yes.
about a lot of things.
Yes.
Long story short, Gagan's favorite car brand, the car brand he works for indirectly, Tata Motors can't go global is what he's saying. Mahindra is already global.
If I start working for Tata Motors, I tell you, I can give better suggestions than whoever is giving suggestions to them right now. I will criticize them the point they are developing it. Stop. This cannot pass. I'll stop them making cars.
The point is everything will get delayed from the go-to-market perspective by at least 3 trillion years.
True that.
Which is the best Indian car? You said Scorpion.
I think right now.
Right now, I think this Thar Rox is amazing.
Tarox is still not in market now. 2 October it will. It's
It
not
is 2 October.
24th
It is
September right now.
24th November today when you're seeing the
September.
podcast.
Might be 24 November 2028.
Okay, we'll just stop here. I had planned we'll just speak for 10-15 minutes, but this guy keeps yapping all the time, and we are like almost 1.5 hours in. I'm getting notification your car is parked. You need to leave now or recharge your parking. So thank you so much for joining me, Gagan. Hopefully we'll do another podcast because I had to give you 2 gifts, which are actually lying in the Mumbai podcast studio.
2 gifts?
2 gifts.
Oh my God.
You don't accept gifts, but these are really amazing gifts which you will love.
I don't take gifts from manufacturers, but I would love to take gifts from you. I'm really waiting what all gifts you can offer me.
So if you like this podcast, like karo, share karo, subscribe karo, and let me know what is the topic we should discuss next. Chalo, thank you so
we
much.
had discussed a lot of topics in this one.
The most of the time we do podcasts only sitting in the car eating chips and all. I thought let's do it in front of camera today.
Exactly, that's what I started
Yeah,
thinking. that
exactly.
Why are you on camera? We could have discussed this in
No, so
car
we usually
itself.
do it. I'm like, why do it in person when we can do it in front of the camera and hurt a few feelings as well.
But also thanks to Warehouse 4 podcast studio for giving the space. Otherwise you were like clueless. Kahan pe karna hai.
And the funny part is that I've set up a whole podcast thing in my office in Bombay.
And we are doing podcast in Dubai.
We are sitting in Dubai and doing podcast. Only thing is that we are more enthusiastic today because we are driving good cars like Civic Type R.
Yes. Chalo, that's nice. Let's go back to Mitsubishi Atraj. Nissan Sunny.
Chalo, thank you.
Nice.